guys, so today I'm going to go over 5 things I really dislike about my Corolla Cross. Don't get me wrong, I really love the vehicle, but there's just a couple little things they could have made different that would have vastly improved the user experience. This is an all-wheel drive L, so I understand it is, more of a base model, but this is these points that I'm going to make are across almost all of the models. So I'm going to get to it and tell me what you think in the comments. Okay, I don't know if it's with all Toyotas or if it's just this one, but my goodness, check out the sun visor here. It's tiny, which is not a real big deal when it's in that position, but when you're in this position, it doesn't cover any of the sun coming through. I got the seat pretty far up, but this visor is absolutely useless. It needs at least a slide so you could pull it this far out. And I had a 4Runner, the same thing. I guess Toyota's not getting the message that this visor does not block any sun at all on the side. It's completely useless. Right where your eyes are, it comes right across. So I don't know if it's a Toyota thing, but I've had Chevys, Hondas, they all do a much better job than that. All right, sticking with the interior, this is another thing I'm noticing. The more I drive this, the more, how do I say, the more annoying this is this center console here. I don't mind that it's like this fabric instead of something you could actually clean if it got dirty, because I imagine it would get really dirty or worn down. But it's so short. Like when you put your hand on the steering wheel, it's not even close. It's not even close. Usually people like to rest it on the center console, or you have a fold down here so you can put your arm on it. But when I got my hand on the wheel, I don't even come close to this. So, and if I was a shorter person, if I pulled my chair all the way up, or my seat all the way up, now let's look at it. It's so it's so far off, it's laughable. So for me and how I drive, I like to either put my hand up here so I can kind of leverage the steering wheel, or down here, and that's all great. That works great. But it's this center armrest that just does not work. That's kind of a pet peeve. I actually want to look to see if I can get some type of extension for it, and if I can, then I'm cool with that. I'm just saying, why make it so short? Some car manufacturers actually make this so it slides forward a bit. And I think Toyota, maybe that was a cost savings, I don't know, but they definitely dropped the ball on that. So 2 things in the back seat, and obviously if you're a driver, you probably don't care. But 2 things in the back seat. So this is number 3 and number 4. If you look at this front seat, it's already a small, tight back seat, which is still doable and stuff. But if you look at this, it's just solid. It's right in front of your face. Usually what they do is they can skive this out a little bit so the rear view person, the person in the back seat, can see through. But in this case, it's just, you're looking at a block. You can't even see forward. So it's kind of annoying. So it seems like not a big deal, but most people, when their head is looking forward, they're looking right at the back of the seat, and it's like a wall in front of you, so you kind of have to, scoot around to see out the front. So that's a little bit annoying. Okay, the last thing, issue I have with the interior is, and this is not a big deal because I know it's almost the smallest SUV out there. And if you don't have five people, you're fine. But in my case, I have 5 passengers. So this middle seat here is, it's kind of weird. It actually curves like this. Kind of like concave, or I guess it would be convex. It's convex. So when you sit here, it's extremely uncomfortable for it's really uncomfortable for that middle passenger, even a smaller kid. So that's a little bit of annoyance too. The one thing I came up with is I have this seat cushion, and if you put it back there, it actually helps with the concaveness of that seat, so it makes it more usable. So it's not a bad thing. And again, I know this is a small SUV, and that's sort of to be expected, but why did they curve it out instead of just making it straight with the rest of the back seat? Because you can kind of see the rest of the back seat is kind of nice bucket. It's like a bucket, but then this kind of like pops out, and it just makes it very uncomfortable for that 5th person. So that's a minor pet peeve. So I'm going to go on to the exterior and point out a few things. Okay, so This is the exterior, obviously, front of the vehicle. Kind of a weird thing is if you look at this gap, and maybe it's an illusion, but it just looks huge. Looks huge because then you come over here. Oh, and it's tight now. So when you look at this, it looks huge. The gap looks unusual. And I think they did that as a collision cost reduction. So if you were to do a minor fender bender and your bumper kind of pushes up, it won't push up and break the headlight. So I think that's why they have that gap in there that's so big. It just looks a little unusual, not a big deal. I think the front of the car looks totally awesome on this. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of the 4Runner. But that's pretty much my 5 major pet peeves. There's a couple minor ones, like I had a friend looking at this and he's like, oh wow, that sticks out like a sore thumb. I think it's for the engine block heater. So he had a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it. And then the other thing is, I walk around here, if you get the L and you're kind of a cheapskate like me, in this case, there's no rear wiper. So I don't know how that's going to play out in the winter time. I'll have to see. I've heard from other people it's not a big deal. You can kind of see the angle of it is not that bad. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's not an issue. So, but overall, I really, really, really love this vehicle. So don't take my video wrong that I'm knocking this vehicle. It's a great vehicle, and I love the size of it, the fuel economy. It doesn't bother me with the underpoweredness. Obviously, everyone knows there's a little bit of louder road noise with this vehicle, especially at higher speeds. But it's sharp. I really like it. So don't take my 5 negatives in the wrong way. It's all still salvageable. It's still a great vehicle.